Let's talk Timeline View. Inside of any of your solutions and apps, you can take a view of the timeline view by clicking on this view section and changing the view, or creating a new view right here that is a timeline view. So I'm going to create this view, and as you can see right here, this timeline view can be viewed by the various date properties that exist. So this is going to be the publish date. And say I wanted to adjust the timeline of this record right here. I can adjust it, and when I open this record, you'll see that the publish date now goes into two different date ranges. So say, for example, this field was actually a production timeline, then I can see that production timeline and its length within here. I can adjust the color that I see this in. So I can say, for example, change it to yellow, and I can change the opacity in 25% increments. So I could make it a 75% canary yellow, or I could make it a 25% violet. It's really up to your preference, and as you can see, when it goes darker, the text changes to white to have better contrast, and vice versa to black with lower contrast. I can also select different date properties, so it's whatever my preference is, and then I can actually select two date properties. So for example, I could select the first created and the last updated to showcase that in the timeline as well. But I'm going to switch back to production timeline. And when it comes to switching between these different views, I can actually click H, D, W, or M to see this in various views. D is for days, W is for weeks, and M is for months. In order to see all the records in this list, I can open the record listing on the top right here, and it actually shows the status of it as well. And if I click on this arrow, it will bring me to that item in the timeline. So if I press days, this shows it a little bit better. So I can click this arrow and it will bring me to that in the timeline. I can drag myself left and right in the timeline by left clicking and moving this, and I can adjust based off of these arrows at the top as well. And I'm clicking the arrows right now on my keyboard, and that moves me along too. Something interesting as well is that I can actually group by different fields, just like you can do with a Gantt chart. So for example, I could group by the author. So it was all me for these, but I could also group it by ones that have open comments or not, as well as who's the person reviewing, to make these a lot easier to look at. And then when it comes to sorting, I can sort by the title or any other field that makes sense. If you have a numbering system, this makes it a lot easier. Say, for example, you have first video or piece of content you ever make is number 1, and then 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. If you have a number, you can then sort it by that in order to make it more obvious which one you should prioritize first. And then by clicking on any of these, it just takes one click to see all the details inside of the record. And if you want to color code specific items, you can utilize the Spotlight feature right here. So you can see I could pick, for example, something that says 5 signs. So contains post title 5 signs. You'll see that now this is spotlighted with a specific color that you can adjust right here with different levels of opacity as well. And also you can add multiple spotlights. So we could have the auto number as well. Maybe it's greater than 1 or 2. You can see that these are going to be numbered specifically as well. And they're going to be highlighted with the spotlight in your record listing on the right over here too. And you'll notice that the grouping also follows with this. So if I get rid of this grouping, they are no longer grouped in the record listing, which is really cool. Very easy to add a new record. All you need to do is press new record right here. And then I wanted to actually type in day or select today, have the start date be a couple weeks ago. I could say 5 ways to make a great podcast, and the status process. Author is someone else besides me. The reviewer is me. Press save. Then from there, if I were to group this to author, now you can see, for example, this is separated into different sections, and I can toggle between the different authors that are using this timeline feature. Make sure to get the most out of our timeline view and all of our other views inside of SmartSuite today.